And you're on.
Good morning, everybody. Wanted to touch base with y'all today and talk to you about preparing who we need to talk to this fall. Because unlike life insurance, where there is no I'm getting terrible feedback for some reason.
We couldn't hear you there for a second.
Well, I stopped talking because the entire time I was listening to myself.
Well, that's very interesting.
There's a huge delay. Hold on one second. Hold on. That might have fixed the issue. Let me see.
I can hear you now.
Okay, I think I fixed it. All right. Do you want to unrecord and start over?
Okay, we're starting over.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to touch base with you all today about as we get ready for this fall and we go into this enrollment season, whether it be ACA or Medicare. And today I'm going to be speaking directly to the Medicare clients. But if we are looking at selling those folks this fall, we have an enrollment period. And in life insurance, you sell any time of the year, whenever the opportunity arises. Okay. With this enrollment period, I only have a finite amount of time in which we can sell to our clients. And in a lot of cases this fall, we're going to have a lot of folks, due to everything that has been going on with pricing changes and things of that nature, that are going to want to have some conversations. So we need to figure out the most efficient way to prioritize who we need to talk to, identify their needs, and then go about using the calendar to our advantage so that we can have a very successful enrollment period, no matter how short that may be. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today, is kind of preparing ourselves and the clients for what's going to happen this fall and using that calendar to our advantage. Now, there's three different types of clients, especially in the Medicare space. There are the clients that have Medigaps or Medicare supplements. Those folks with those types of plans are already seeing announced pricing changes. Okay. We need to find out what comfort level they have with that, and we need to find out if there are alternative solutions that we need to dig up. The second type of client that we're going to be looking at are PDP clients or drug plan folks. They may have a supplement, they may have Medicare Advantage and a PDP, or they may just have original Medicare and PDP. And for those folks that are on drug plans, no matter how you slice that, there are anticipated price changes. And we'll talk about those a little bit, identifying the risks of those clients that are actually at higher out-of-pocket costs, even with the rule changes. Drug plans or prescription change solutions, which one is better for the client? And then finally, we've got the Medicare Advantage clients. This is a big bucket of folks, but these are the people that we probably need to touch last as we go through the summer. We need to focus on those that have lots of ancillary product use or purchase based off of an ancillary product. We'll define that in a little bit. Special needs clients. We need to talk to those folks because they have more chronic conditions. So they may be able to keep some of these benefits. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we need to prep our current members to maximize the use of what they have today and find alternative solutions to fix their problems in the future. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. So how do we identify and prioritize? Where do we go with all of this? Okay. We need to focus on the clients that have the most importance as far as what they are going to need this fall. So like we already talked about, first, I need to focus on those med supp clients. Second are my prescription drug folks. Then I need to divide it into my folks that have special needs. And then the clients that have strong use of ancillary benefits that are on standard MAs or Medicare Advantage plans. So those Medicare supplement folks or Medigap clients, we need to focus on those with announced pricing changes. Some rate changes are being announced now. Some have already gone into effect. Yeah, some are zero. Some are a little bit less. But on the national average, we're looking at anywhere between 9 and 20% in price changes. That's a big hit to a lot of incomes. So we need to assess the impact on the fixed incomes and what constraints that puts on their budgets. Because whether I'm selling life insurance or health insurance or just about anything, groceries, rising costs of things, especially for folks on fixed incomes, and whether you're a millionaire or whether you're on Medicaid, very low income, you're on a fixed income once you're retired because no more money's coming in. Can they handle that increase of what their Medicare supplement's about to do them to them? Can they handle the potential increases of the upcoming years? So do we need to set an appointment to sit down and discuss this? Because especially if we need to figure out a way to essentially reverse denial and pay for their Medicare in a way that we haven't paid for it in the past. If they've been on a supplement and now I'm switching them to a supplement and an indemnity plan or Medicare Advantage plan and an hospital indemnity plan, we need to talk about that. And that's 2-3 appointments, 2-3 hours potentially of conversation that I won't have time for during the enrollment period. So I need to start talking to my Medicare supplement clients now. Hey, I understand that your plan just announced that on August 1st, fill in the date, fill in the amount, fill in the carrier. Your plan is scheduled to go up this much in premium. Are you comfortable with that? Do I need to find you alternatives? Do we need to switch you from one plan to another? Do we need to switch you to a different type of plan? If they don't have an election period now, I need to make sure I've got all of these ducks in a row so that when they do have an election period this fall, I've got an opportunity to make the most of my time and be efficient in sales. Now, if you'll notice that this, I call this slide my black slide. Drug plans. Drug plans are going to take a huge change this year. Formularies will likely be reduced. Now, what the heck is a formulary? It's a fancy word for a list of drugs. Whether it's a standalone drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan with drugs built into it, they all have a formulary. Now, they're all required to cover at least 2 categories or 2 drugs in every category. Well, let's just take a look at insulin. There's about 500 insulins available. They've all been capped at $35, which is great and wonderful. But let's just choose carrier A. They don't carry all 500 insulins. They might carry 50. They're required to carry 2. Next year, the 50 may be reduced down to 10. So these formularies will get changed. They'll also re-tier some drugs. A drug that was tier 3 may be tier 4 next year. There will be anticipated increases in premiums. We don't know what those are yet, but we'll find out. There'll be potentially changes in deductibles. So we need to have this conversation with our clients now about what it is exactly they need to do to keep their costs down. We're insurance agents, whether it's life or health. Our goal is to keep costs down, to do the most financially sound thing for our client. So let's discuss what options we have. Do they want to keep their plan that they have now and discuss with their doctor about changing medications when that new plan comes? Or do we need to explore new options? Because over the last 2 or 3 years, these premiums have gone up, things of that nature. If they're tired of that roller coaster and they want to discuss new options, I need to have that conversation with them as much as I can prior to enrollment season, because during enrollment season, I need to enroll, not discuss what the plan is going to be, not discuss alternative options such as an MAPD, Medicare Advantage plan, for those trying to keep up with all of my crazy acronyms. But a Medicare Advantage plan is very different than a drug plan. Now they're getting medical coverage involved into their drug coverage. So do I need to discuss that alternative option? Taking them out of a Medicare supplement and a Part D drug plan that keeps rising in costs and putting them into an MAPD? That could be what the solution is. But now I am reversing the entire way they've known that their Medicare system works. So I need to have that conversation with them and have that level of understanding and trust with them well before we get to enrollment season. So then we get to the folks that have Medicare Advantage plans. Like I said, let's focus on the members first that have special needs or have special benefit selections. I chose this plan because I wanted this benefit. If that benefit will be reduced in 2025, we need to make sure we have alternatives ready for these folks. But review and make sure they are maximizing the use of their ancillary benefits. If I put a person on a plan, here in Northern Virginia, there's a plan that's available that has $3,500 worth of dental available to it. I can think off the top of my head of 3 clients that I put on that plan specifically because of the amount of dental that it had. I doubt sincerely the amount of dental on that plan next year, due to the budget constraints and the pricings and all of these other things that are going on in the Medicare system, that's going to have $3,500 worth of dental. So that member specifically, I need to reach out to and say, hey, are you using this benefit? If I sold them this plan and they haven't used that $3,500 worth of dental, I need to remind them to use it before the end of the year. Because that builds trust, that builds the relationship, but it also gives me standing to say, hey, I need to get you using this benefit now so we have alternatives for you in 2025, even if it's a standalone dental or standalone vision, hearing, dental combination. But it won't all be packaged the way it used to be packaged in the past. The whole system is being flipped around. So those, for instance, that use a grocery cart, I doubt sincerely there'll be a lot of grocery cards available for those that don't meet some sort of special need benefit requirement. If you don't have a special need, chronic condition, something along those lines, you will not qualify for this condition. If you don't qualify without those conditions, you do not qualify for this benefit. So I need to make sure my members are using their benefits now so they can get the most out of the system while it's still theirs. That builds that trust, that builds that, oh, I'm calling Paul back this fall, even when I get all of these crazy TV ads. Now, I'm trying to prepare my clients for these changes. Make sure they are well informed about what is about to happen to them. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Medicare supplement client, a drug client that's on a PDP, or a Medicare Advantage client, or any combination of all of the above. They are required to get notification of change letters, or ANOCs, from the carriers. And this is where I'm going to use the calendar to my advantage. I need to stress the importance of this ANOC letter to my clients more than ever. When I call my clients over the summer months, do you have XYZ benefit, whether it be a drug plan, Medicare supplement, whatever? Are you comfortable with those changes? I can say today, in most cases, not all, depending on the carrier and the state, I know what your Medicare supplement change premium will be. But until an ANOC letter comes to them, or until we get out into the field and find out from the carriers what 2025 will be about, I can't talk to my member about 2025 until October. So I need to stress the importance of the ANOC letter to my client, because the carrier is going to send them a letter, whether it's a Medicare Advantage plan or a prescription drug plan, that's going to outline the changes that they're going to have for the upcoming year. This got better. This got worse. We took this away. We added these benefits. That's what this letter will outline for my client about their plan. And they will sometimes get it early September or late August. They all have to get it in September. So I need to prepare my client. If I talk to them about their supplement and they're comfortable with the premium increase, but they're a little on the fence about the PDP changes, or they want to explore their options this fall with a Medicare Advantage, a PDP, or whatever it may be, and I'm just trying to schedule appointments and fill my pipeline with people that need to talk to me, I'm not going to schedule the appointment in October right this second. I'm going to ask them to look at their ANOC, because the details of those new benefits gives them the time, if they are on the fence about making those changes, to call in the fall if necessary. So right now I'm picking up these clients that I know need to make changes this fall, and I am socking them away for a needs analysis either this late summer, and then a sale and a presentation in the fall, October. Or if they're on the fence about it, let's talk about the ANOC letter, because this year's changes will be significant. So this letter's come to them every year. Most years they don't mind it. They don't even pay attention to it. Most agents don't even know it exists. But I need to stress with every one of my Medicare clients that they're going to get this letter from their carrier, and it's going to outline the changes. I even asked them to do me a favor. When you get those changes, do you mind scanning a copy of it and sending it to me? Because sometimes that gives me a leg up on my competition, the other agents. So I'm getting intelligence from my own members and my own clients. Because we're working as a team. We're trying to get them through this Medicare system. So what are the most practical steps for engagement? Depending on how big your book is, the most practical step is scheduling a one-on-one consultation. Hey, client A, I know that you have a Medicare supplement. I also know that you probably got a letter about that supplement, and your plan G is going to increase by 15%. Do you want to talk to me about that? We review their needs. We go over what it is they want, they don't want. I come up with opportunities for sales this fall, whether it be standalone dental, standalone vision, Medigap, hospital indemnity, whatever plans I need to plug in to fill in their holes that they need filled. That's my job as the insurance agent. I utilize communication tools. If you don't have a very large book of business, great. You can phone call every single one of these people. Not a problem. If you have a larger book of business emails, newsletters, things of that nature. If you live in a territory where the turmoil is going to be insane, say there's a plan exit, some giant company is pulling out of whatever state or county or whatever it may be. Schedule in-person meetings in the home or schedule in-person meetings and book hotel rooms. And then advertise. But make sure that you are reaching out now and providing clear and concise information to your clients. That builds the relationship, that builds the trust, and that builds the referrals. Because these changes are going to be big. And they're going to need help navigating those changes. So that's where you come in. And if you can tell them, I am the subject matter expert, I will walk you down this process. We will use the calendar to our advantage. We just need to start talking about it today. And we walk hand in hand down this path. We will be absolutely fine to getting you to a plan that is more cost appropriate for you in 2025 than what you have in 2024. Our goal is to make sure the client is comfortable, make sure that the client is prepared. Encourage your clients to reach out with any questions or concerns. Again, encourage them to reach out when they get their ANOC letter. Can you give me a copy of that? Can you detail these changes for me so I understand? Because if there's one client on this plan, there are hundreds of clients on this plan. And then we start going back to the strategizing of what do we need to do to get in front of more people? Because if the ANOC letter is a plan exit letter, then we might need to be scheduling in-person seminar type appointments. But make sure you're emphasizing with your clients this summer the importance of staying informed. Most people say that your number one biggest purchase in life is your home. Well, if you're retired, chances are you've already paid for that. So now your remaining biggest purchase in life is your health care. So being flippant about it is not a very good way to be financially stable. So make sure you're emphasizing the importance for them to stay informed and proactive about what their changes to their Medicare is going to be this year and in years to come, because United Healthcare is predicting this is going to go on for at least the next 3 years. I hope you all have a great success this fall. I think this is going to get you all in front of a lot of people, building that trust, building that relationship, talking your members through what is going to happen to them, because Medicare happens to you every day. Let them know you are there to support them, and they will be there for you come this enrollment season. Thank you very much. You all have a great day. Please feel free to reach out to me, Paul Suddeth. My email is listed there, or Skylar Smith, with any questions. We'll be happy to guide you through this process.
Hey, Paul, do you want to open up for any questions that may be in the chat?
Sure. If there's some, we can do so.
Okay. Hi, y'all. Feel free to go ahead and put your questions in the chat. And Paul, if you want to turn on your camera, if you can, if you're presentable.
Only if you're presentable, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's a relative question.
Well, I was going to ask you, Paul, what if a new agent's watching this and they're health licensed, but they want to kind of pick up some Medicare and start, I think you covered a lot of stuff in you're like a fire hose of information, no, it's good though. What are like the concrete steps? So I've got my health license. I'm selling life insurance, but I have a health license. I'd like to be able to start having some of these conversations with my clients. What what do I do? What's the first thing I need to do?
Well, even for those that just, hey, I've got a health license, but I haven't even taken AHIP yet because AHIP's still 2 weeks away. So we haven't contracted you with any carriers. Okay. As long as you have that health license, by all means, you can reach out, whether they're final expense clients, people you know at church. Hey, this is what I am doing this fall. And you can talk just like, hey, we're selling fixed annuities. We can talk in generalities about the stock market, but I can't talk specifically about one or two individual stocks, right? The same is true with you having a health license. I know these things in general truths because I've seen first quarter reports. I've seen these med sup prices going up, so on and so forth. If you want to have a conversation with me, let's have that conversation. By the time we get to October, you will be AHIP certified. You will be certified with the carrier. You'll be contracted with the carrier. You'll be notified of what their new plans are going to be. And by the time it comes time for you to sell it this October, you can knock it out of the park because you know what the problem of the puzzle is. You just need the puzzle pieces to put in place.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest.
The main thing is you can't wait until October to start gathering all of these puzzle pieces into place because there's only like 70 days of enrollment season.
Right.
So if I've got one of the big to reach out to, that's not enough time.
I think one of the biggest like pieces of advice that I got that was really helpful in the beginning was that, like we talk about stuff all the time. It's like, hey, who do you think is going to win the election? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Right. And people are constantly talking about things. And the things that like at this stage, let's say I don't know anything about Medicare, but I do have my health license and I am wanting to I want to pick up this AHIP thing. I want to go through, let's say that's kind of where I'm at. Right. If you have your antenna up, and this was the advice that was given to me, is like, have your antenna up for people that are complaining about or talking about like doctors and medical things, like, especially seniors. You go to church, you go to this, you go to that, you're hanging out with people and somebody's, da-da-da, and my insurance. Right. And it's just like
Hardee's on any morning.
Yeah. Hardee's, Shoney's, all these places. Right. And it's like even with zero knowledge at all, right? I can ask somebody, oh man, that sounds like it was super frustrating. Tell me what happened, blah, blah, blah. And then just listen to their story and then say, hey, do you have anybody helping you with your Medicare? Mm-hmm. Then, and if they say no, it's like, oh, well, great, man. I'm actually going through my certifications. I'm more than happy to take care of you come the fall if you want, you want to give me your number, right? Or if they already do have somebody helping them, it's like, doesn't sound like they're doing too good of a job. Right. So either way,
yeah,
you kind of win. And I think that have the ability to like listen for cues, ask questions, listen to somebody's story, and then say, hey, would you like some help with that? There's nothing I can really go into right now, but if you want, I'll add you to my list. I've got several people that have asked me to reach out to them in October when they start making the plan changes. And, I'm happy to add you to my list, and that in and of itself, you're just gathering these prospects, so anything else you found effective?
Well, and while you were talking about that, I'm old school, right? Like we used to do our applications on stone tablets, right? Like we didn't send a text message and stuff signed.
With ink pens.
But yeah, with ink pens and stuff, paper, fax machines. But I had this young man, he wanted to go into a social services building. Hey, not a problem. I'll help you walk in the door. We'll talk about it with the people that are working there. There are plenty of opportunities out there, right? And to prove that point to him, I literally said, when we walked out of the government building, I walked down the government building and I met with him and I was like, hey, let's debrief somewhere. Where would you like to, what kind of restaurants around here? I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Right. He listed off Chick-fil-A's and all of these, and I zeroed in on the Hardee's because I know here in the state of Virginia, every Hardee's until at least 11 o'clock in the morning is full of seniors sitting around drinking coffee, chit-chatting with one another, They might be playing canasta or knitting or just sitting there shooting the breeze. But I know they're there, right? Without a doubt. And so I took him in there. And before we went into we got to the Hardee's parking lot, before we walked in the door, I said, count the number of military hats you see. And he said, what? Now, it just so happened that we were near a military hospital, so I knew there were going to be military hats in there, but it's true with every Hardee's. Vietnam veteran, World War II, Korea, it doesn't matter. They're going to be wearing a veteran hat. Might just say Army, right? We walked in, we got up to order the coffee and everything, and I ordered him a sausage biscuit, myself a sausage biscuit, 2 cups of coffee. I said, how many hats do you see? He said, I saw 5. I said, go ahead, 7 cups of coffee. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you for your service. Walk over, sit down. I've got a military shirt on myself right this second. Mind my own business. Be a decent human being, right? Sit down, have my debrief with my agent. We just happened to get quiet for a little bit. And 2 fellas, one empty table next to us, 2 fellas next table over are bitching about their Medicare while they're sitting in this Hardee's. And I told this agent, and I understand only 2% of y'all are ever going to do. And he didn't do. Right? But I was like, fine, 5 Hardee's. One for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You do your emailing in that Hardee's.
Hardee marketing plan.
Yeah, it works, man. I'm telling
and
you,
actually,
the first time you go to the veteran, he may not say squat to you. But if you show up next Monday and you give him another cup of coffee, at the 3rd Monday, whatever, eventually he'll say, who are you? Well, and now he's opened that door. It's not unsolicited contact. Oh, my name is Paul Suddeth. I work in health insurance, but I appreciate your service. If you have questions about your Medicare, I'm happy to talk to you. But he opened the door. I only have to get him to say hello.
Right. Well, and to your point, like it's a really good segue to this question we got from Blanca on the Facebook feed. But can we announce that we do Medicare on social media, even if you don't have your AHIP, even if you're not certified? Like, can you tell people? Yeah, talk about that.
As long as you're health licensed, okay. Hey, I do that, and you can speak in generalities about Medicare. I blast out stuff on either LinkedIn or Facebook to my agency's Facebook page every day. It might be about seedless watermelons during the summertime, but it's constant drip, 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 drip marketing. Okay. I cannot, without the permission of the carrier, talk about a 0 premium plan in your area. That is plan specific. But I can talk in generalities all I want about if you have Medicare questions, if you're turning 65, blah, blah, like, hey, I've got this person retired. Congratulations. Not only did I get their Medicare, but if I keep probing, now I've got a $500,000 annuity that I'm real close to pulling.
Well,
it's all about just ask the probing questions.
I have to say too, Paul, I'm sure this is, my guess is your experience too, is we can always talk about and educate people on how Medicare works, right? So the better, Blanca, that you're able to like get your arms around, hey, here are the 4 parts of the Medicare law, A, B, C, and D, right? Here's how Medicare supplement works, what these letters mean, right? And the plans. Here's how Medicare Advantage works in general, right? Mm-hmm. Here's what a Medicare Advantage is. Here's what Medicare Advantage with prescription drugs is, MAPD. Here's what a prescription drug plan, PDP, is. Here's what a DVH plan is, dental vision hearing, right? All of those things. I don't need to have a license. I don't need to know anything about I don't even have to be speaking accurately to get on Facebook and pontificate about. I mean, that's your privilege as an American, right? You got free speech, but you can also, hey, look, if you actually have real expertise, which you will, you go through the 101, you go through AHIP, I mean, you're going to come out very knowledgeable, and you can talk about all of that stuff. The only thing that's restricted for AEP, and I have to have a scope of work and all that other kind of stuff, is number one, like the plan specific things right? If Cigna has their HMO gold label, whatever, plan, right, that they want to name, if I'm not appointed with them, I can't really, I am certified to sell. I can't really talk about that plan. Like I'm going to get in trouble for that with the carrier, right? And you get in trouble with the government if you take applications, right, for a Medicare Advantage plan outside of an official enrollment period. So, but that's it. So like you can get up and talk about, you can have events in senior citizens today, senior centers today, speak at church, speak at Rotary, speak wherever you want about how Medicare works, what it's about. If you're turning 65, if you have friends that are turning 65, here's some of the things that you may have been bewildered with, blah, blah, blah. Like totally 100%.
We've got guys running around doing ice cream socials, educational seminars. They're doing turning 65 dinners where they break down A, B, C, and D of Medicare and buy them, because at an educational seminar, I can buy you food, right? So, hey, I'm just fill in the seats. I'll buy your Golden Corral, right? And then I just talked for 20, 30 minutes, just like the Ameriprise financial guy that had you drop your business card in the fishbowl, right? But
and it's really interesting too, the difference between, and you can maybe speak to this too. There's a line between like education events and sales events that CMS kind of like, and the rule of thumb that I had heard over and over again is basically two things. One, don't talk about specific carriers or products in an educational event. And number two, don't solicit somebody to give you their information, right? Like that's kind of like do you agree? That's kind of the, like you could put out and say, hey, if you want my card, come ask for it. You could put a QR code as the last slide in your presentation. Say, if you want more information, scan this, right? But something that they have to take action on and pull the information to them, totally fine. Yep. Something that you're handing out or forcing, or, hey, let me get your information before you leave. Like that's a no-no, right? But like any other kind of,
And that's just like the difference between me going up to a veteran and handing him a cup of coffee 3 different times. Once he opens up to me, now I can have a conversation, right? I have seen literally an agent take his business cards as all these little old ladies file off of a bus to go play bingo, and he trips, I'm using air quotes here, and dumps all of his business cards on the ground. Well, every little old lady that is capable of bending over to help pick up stuff will obviously do so. And they say all kinds of stuff all over his business card about Medicare and life insurance and blah, 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 blah. That's an unsolicited contact. And if the government caught you doing that, then yes, they're going to come after you. But as long, just like Eric said, as long as I am in an educational mode, in generalities about Medicare, I'm not talking about a plan-specific benefit, not a premium, not a deductible, not a dental benefit, nothing, okay? We just stay in the A, B, C's, and D's of what Medicare is and is not. More importantly, what it is not, right? It is not long-term care. That's what a lot of people think it is. But we break down what it is and what it isn't, and then we leave it to them to just ask more questions, like, leave it open-ended. Leave it open. Hey, if you need more, I will give you more. Just open the door and let me walk in. That's all I need.
Ironically, like that's the stuff people want to talk about anyway. It's kind of funny. When I was first getting acquainted with these rules, I'm like, oh man, well that's all the stuff I can't talk about. I can only talk about this little thing. This little thing is what people want to talk about. Like, how does it work? Why is it designed that way? Who came up with this? Right? Like, well, does that mean I can't do that? All that? That's where the conversation is, right? When they get serious about, okay, what can I actually get for myself? That's when you start getting into that, and you need a statement of, a scope of appointment anyway for that. So, Marcia had a question here too, like, can they sign in with their name and phone number and email? So the answer to this is no, right? At an educational event, that you cannot put a sign up sheet. And because that's you requesting them to go ahead.
You cannot require them at the door to have a sign-up sheet. Okay. But if you have I'd like more information. Let's see if I've got one here handy. Of course, right now I do not. But
like a card that they would take and fill out voluntarily.
And you can get them from the carriers.
Right.
Okay. You don't even have to pay for these. Hey, United Healthcare, I want 101 brochures for educational seminars, and I want permission to contact cards. Territory manager, can you get me those? Yes, we can. Okay. That is typically free of charge to you. And you just lay those out at your educational situation. If you'd like more information, please fill out that optional, and keyword there is optional, and it'll say optional on the piece of paper to keep you compliant, right? You cannot require them to give it. If they want to give it to get you to contact them, that's now your permission to contact. Just like them saying, hey, what do you do for a living?
So the key differentiator there is you have to incentivize them to want to do it. You can't require it to, like, hey, before you come in, we need everybody to sign it. You can't do that.
Nope.
Yep. Got
it. And that's where, like I said, I got to keep it open-ended. I got to keep it loose. I got to give you just enough information to bait you to come back again.
Well, to make you want to learn, like, I'm giving you so much, but there's begging the question, right? It's like, well, how does that work for me? That's great. Let's talk about that offline, right? And then,
like you touched on the scope of appointment a couple of times, just to sort of fill in the blank on everybody on what that is. Okay, it's a document that requires me to only discuss the things in Medicare that they are willing to hear from me about: dental, vision, and hearing, hospital indemnity. I can't sell pet insurance during a Medicare event. I can't. That's illegal. Okay, can't sell life insurance during a Medicare event. And once I'm done with the Medicare sale, then I can turn the page and we can talk about life insurance, right? If I'm doing life insurance first and we get to Medicare, no stopping me then. So if you call a final expense lead and they talk about, oh, I can't afford my final expense sale because my premiums are too high, great. Let's talk about your Medicare, sell that, go back to final expense, sell that, and now you're done. But as far as that scope of appointment goes, there is a requirement, and we'll get into that just to be, there'll be notifications of this requirement in your AHIP in a couple of weeks. But you have to have this scope signed 20 or 48 hours before your appointment with certain exceptions. The key to that is, and part of the reason that I say do your needs analysis on your client in the summertime, well before I'm actually going to propose a plan to them in October, is because I can do the needs analysis and ask my questions about members as much as I want. I can know your drugs, doctors, hospitals, pharmacies. I can know where your spine doctor injection office is, right? I can know all of that before I make a plan proposal. And then my scope of appointment will be based off of my plan proposals, will be based off of your needs. So I can do the scope of appointment. If I talk to them and Paul personally on July the 8th, we'll start calling his members to tell them about these changes, right? July the 8th, I start calling them. If it looks like we're going to have an appointment come August or September, I'll get them to sign the scope for an appointment in October when I give them their plan. But I will spend my August and September learning about their plans, so I have the puzzle pieces to put it all together for them in October. I present the plan to them in October. I get them to enroll in October. I meet with them one time in October, not three. I don't have time for that.
Very cool, man. Marsha gave us some kudos there. She says both of us. She means all three of us. Skylar just doesn't have his face on the camera this morning, but you are welcome. This is like the highlight of our week, so we're glad to be back with you guys. Give us a thumbs up if you feel like this format was a little bit better than being on a Zoom. I enjoyed it more. I bounced back and forth between the YouTube channel and the Facebook group just to kind of see the experience, but it's pretty cool. It'll be up here, archived for everybody to share. What do you think, Paul?
I liked it. I just have to take the mental note. Don't play with the YouTube channel before you actually start speaking on here. That's what caused my feedback, was the YouTube channel was yelling back at me. And I was like, can't deal with that. I got to stop one of these. So that was a user error on my part.
User error. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, all. Sorry for not showing my face on here this morning. I'm just getting over a sickness and cold, and I don't know when I'm going to start coughing like crazy, so I apologize for that. But no, I like this format. It's fantastic, and I look forward to getting more on here. So
sweet.
And Dawn, we're all learning how to get into it. To be fair,
yeah. That's good, man. Well, next week, same time, same place. Tell your friends, bring a crowd, and
especially if you want to get through AHIP. I don't have the new AHIP stuff this year for 2025 yet, but this week's conversation is going to be how to attack AHIP, how to understand what parts there are and all of that sort of stuff. And then the following week, it'll probably just be a redo video of me showing a group of guys. I'm going to log in on June 24th. This is Paul logging in live with y'all video streaming it. I'm going to download all of this information so it's on my computer when I take the test. So that's kind of the next two of these, prepping you for AHIP. Once you all get through AHIP, if you haven't already, we will contract you after that. I promise. Thank you for your patience on this contracting. And Danielle, I would say, how new are you to this business? If you're relatively new, I'd probably cap you at 3 to start. Maybe 2 nationals and a regional, depending on what your territory looks like. But
I would say too, Paul's talking about Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement. It's good to have, a handful, 3 or 4 that you can write with.
That's just a pricing game at that point. So Medicare Supplement, get as many as you want. If you're
one thing I do have to say about Medicare Supplement is we can go on to that CSG actuarial and find out what's the most competitive in that particular
in that. And by the way, guys, that is exactly how we sourced the first carriers that FFL Health even got contracted with, is doing some analysis on who had the best pricing, around the country. So like if we've got and Danielle says she's been doing it for about 2 years now. So like, yeah, Danielle, if you just, if you holler at us and say, hey, look, I live here. This is where I'm selling. This is my market. Some people are national, but most people have some kind of region they're focusing on, and we can guide you to the right ones, but you don't, like Paul said, I mean, you have 2 or 3, especially Medicare Advantage. I mean, there's so many different things to know about it. It's like, you don't need 15. Some people like, I need everything. It's like, no, you really don't.
Yeah, that's one thing I have as well is if you get too many in the beginning, you're going to just be overwhelmed with all your certifications. It's going to be a monster you can never tame. So learn the business on just a few carriers. And as you come across carriers in your particular area that you're seeing more and more of, we can get those carriers as you go along. That's the way to do it. If you see a consistent spot in something that you don't have that you need, we can add that as you go along.
Yeah, and because we had this meeting several weeks ago, probably late April, early May, but we talked about kind of learning the spirit of what it is you're trying to sell, because unlike life insurance, which is a one-time use, health insurance is something they're going to use regularly. And you don't want to get overwhelmed with, hey, I've got 5, 6, 7 carriers that I'm trying to learn and understand because I've got all of these members that are using all of these things, right? If you focus on, hey, I understand this is how United Healthcare goes about their approach. This is what they focus on and what they're good at. This is what Humana's good at. This might be what Aetna's good at. If you're looking at like 3 national carriers, right? Once you kind of understand each one of those and how they work, then you can expand. But like Skylar said, I've got to get you through an AHIP. Then I got to get you certified with each one of these carriers. It can become a vortex that will suck you in. I have, I think, 18 carriers. That the amount of certifications I go through is insane.
Vortex.
It is a vortex.
I like that, man. It's a giant sucking sound. Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all being on here, and check out also the Facebook group that we've got. If you guys haven't seen that, It's connected to the Family First Life healthcare page, but we've got a group now that's a really solid conversation with different agent issues, contracting stuff, things like that. So that's kind of the place we're moving our energy to. So we'll see you guys. Yeah, I'll put it in the comment thread after the event.
And then just a reminder, Eric and Paul, stay on after we end the stream because we've got to continue to upload our stuff.
Right.
For the recording.
Yep.
So. All right, everybody. Have a great day.
Yep.
Thank you much.